हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरं वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगता अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Yoga, begins with Arjuna's question. He asks Bhagwan that who are the better knowers of yoga or upasana, the one who worships you as Vishvarupa, Vyakta, Ishvara, or the one who worships you as Avyakta. So Bhagwan says that one who worships me as Vyakta Ishvara is great, is the best. One who worships me with full faith, totally dedicated to me, doing all karmas for me, is a very good upasak compared to the upasak of other devatas. But the one who worships me as Avyakta Ishvara is my own self. He attains me. Te prapnuvanti mam eva. So whether Vyakta Upasak or Avyakta, whether one worships, both of them are worshipping Ishvara alone, doing Upasana of Ishvara alone. But Avyakta Upasana is more difficult if we have attachment to our body, and Vyakta Upasana is comparatively easier. So Bhagwan says, those who do my Upasana, my Vyakta Upasana, I lift them from this samsara. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat. I lift them from this samsara immediately. Therefore, Bhagwan says, you worship me in my Vyakta Rupa. So for that, the highest practice is to place our mind and intellect in Bhagwan. So Mayyeva mana adhatsva Mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashishyasi Mayyeva atha urdhvam na samshayah. Bhagwan says, you place your mind in me, think about me, and let your intellect penetrate me. Try to understand my nature. Try to understand my Swarupa. So when our mind and intellect is totally absorbed, engaged in contemplating on Ishvara, then we will gain abidance in Ishvara alone. Nivashishyasi Mayyeva atha urdhvam na samshayah. Once we drop this body, we become one with Ishvara. But even when we are living in this world, the Vyakta Upasak is constantly tuned to Ishvara all the time. But suppose it becomes difficult for us to maintain our dhyana, to place mind and intellect steadily in Ishvara. If it becomes difficult, and why it becomes difficult? If we have impurities in our mind, if there are raga dvesha, then to keep the mind steadily engaged in Ishvara Chintan becomes difficult. Then Bhagwan says, you do abhyas. Atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi stiram abhyasa yogena tatah mam ichhaptum dhananjaya. You do abhyas of placing your mind and intellect in me. Whenever the mind runs away in some other objects, then again bring that mind back and place in me. So constantly we should contemplate on Ishvara and do abhyas. So this is the sadhana at the level of our mind and intellect. The mind and intellect means it also includes the chitta and ahankar. Everything is offered to Ishvara. So the person is totally engaged in Ishvara Dhyana, Ishvara Chintan. But Bhagavan says that if this becomes difficult to do, abhyase api asamartah asi, if you are unable to do abhyas also, if you are unable to engage your mind and intellect in me, then Bhagavan says you then engage your senses and karmendriyas into me by doing karma for me. Mat karma paramo bhava. Do all karmas for my sake. Means do karmas which will take your mind towards me. Do all those actions which will remind you of me, which will make you totally get attached to me. So, mat karma paramo bhava. See, there are those karmas mentioned in our scriptures which help us to tune our mind to Ishvara. Not all karmas. Doing your office work or some other work in the society, those karmas are not mentioned here. Here Bhagavan is talking about those karmas which will connect your mind to Ishvara, like a japa, puja, tirthayatra, parayan, Shravan of kathas, puja. All these karmas remind us, takes our mind again and again towards Ishvara. Though we are doing karma, though our senses and our karmendriyas are engaged in doing karma, but this karma help us to think about Ishvara. See, just as a mother lovingly she cooks for her children, though she is engaged totally in doing the cooking, cutting the vegetables and cleaning them and preparing the food, totally engaged. But since she is doing that cooking for her children, her mind is on her children also. Though her mind is also engaged in the actions, but a portion of her mind is thinking about the children. While doing the cooking, she is thinking what they will like, which child likes what type of food. So she is constantly thinking of the children also and constantly working. So her work is taking her mind towards her children. Similarly, mat karma parama means our work should take our mind to Ishvara. See, japa is also work which we do with our tongue. We chant Bhagwan's name. That is work. With our karmendriya, vani, we chant Bhagwan's name. But as we continuously chant Bhagwan's name, our mind is engaged, goes towards Ishvara. Or we do some katha shravan, then also our mind goes to Ishvara. Or we do some seva in this world, thinking that we are doing seva of Ishvara. Even when we are doing some seva of some person or some other beings or nature, constantly to think that I am doing this seva of Ishvara will also take my mind to Ishvara. So through our actions, our mind goes to Ishvara. Or when we do puja, we have the murti in front of us, we invoke the presence of Ishvara in that murti, and we do all the upachara. So though our hands and are engaged in that action of doing puja, but this action is taking our mind towards Ishvara. That is what is meant here, that mat karma paramo bhava. You perform actions for my sake, so that you can think about me, for my sake. Madartham karma mat karma paramo, mat karma pradhana. For Ishvara's sake, which will remind me of Ishvara. That is mat karma paramaha. So Bhagavan says, Madhartam api karmani kurvan. Doing your karmas for my sake also. Siddhim avapsyasi. You will attain the siddhi. You will attain me. Your siddhi means sattva shuddhi yoga jnana prapti dvarena. So your mind will become pure, you will gain knowledge, and you will attain me. Bhagavan says, Madhartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. You will not realize when your mind will get engaged with me and will gain abidance in me. See, sometimes people, they do some work and they get lost in the thoughts, that their attention from the work gets shifted and goes into that thought. Similarly, one may do that work for Ishvara, and slowly one transcends that work and the mind gets absorbed in Ishvara. So many examples are there. In Maharashtra also, so many saints, they continued with their work, but all the time with thought of Ishvara in their mind. Even while doing worldly duties, their mind was engaged in Ishvara only. All the time they were thinking that they are doing this for Ishvara. Even the gopis, they were milking the cows and making the dahi and butter and all the time doing their household work also. They were constantly thinking of Ishvara, because all their work was reminding them of Ishvara. The cows used to remind them of Ishvara. The milk used to remind them of Krishna. The butter used to remind them of Krishna. The clouds used to remind them of Krishna, Shama, Meghavarna. The river used to remind them of Krishna. So though the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are engaged in the world, that engagement is taking their mind towards Ishvara. So that is called mat karma paramaha, performing karmas for Ishvara. So madartham api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsyasi. You will attain that siddhi. Because this performing karma for Ishvara will take us to that higher step wherein abhyas to place the mind in Ishvara will become easier, and that will take us to the higher step wherein our mind and intellect will be firmly abiding in Ishvara. Okay? So mat karma paramo bhava. Become one who does karma for me. Doing karma for me itself is your supreme goal, supreme engagement. But there are those who find it, even this sadhana, they find it very difficult. To work for Bhagwan, they find it very difficult because of because of too much of impurity, because of selfishness, because of attachment to the pleasures of this world. One may find it very difficult to do work for Bhagwan. Many times people find that, doing puja is just a waste of time. Offering some flowers or something for Bhagwan is they don't see any benefit in that. Doing japa, they don't see any usefulness in that. So becomes difficult to do work for Ishvara. If there are seekers who are at this level, is there any sadhana for them? Is there any way by which they can evolve, arise and attain that Ishvara? Bhagavan says yes. For them also there is one sadhana. If they can do that, they can attain me. So in the 11th verse, he says, Athaitadapyashaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarvakarma phalatyagam tatak kuruyatatmavan. Bhagavan says, Atha, if etad api ashaktosi kartum, if a person is unable to do this also, etad api, this means mat karma paramaha, doing karma for Ishvara, so that we constantly think about Ishvara, the karmas which will make us think of Ishvara, the karmas which will remind us of Ishvara, those type of karma. If a person fails to do even this type of karma, due to his selfishness, due to his impurities of the mind, due to not being evolved so much, then Bhagavan says, okay, then you do whatever karmas you want to do, means other duties. If you want to engage yourself in different types of activities, then you can do that also. Atha etadapi ashaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritah. You can do all other work, but you can do one thing. What? Sarva karma phalatyagam tatak kuruyatatmavan. You drop the attachment to the results of those actions. Sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. With a firm resolve, with a complete control over yourself, you drop the attachment to the results of those actions. If you don't want to do puja, japa, shravan, if you don't want to do those work which will remind you directly of Ishvara, but you want to do all your other duties and engage yourself in this world, Bhagavan says, okay, you can do that, but do one thing, whatever result comes, offer them to me. Means don't be attached to any results. Means accept whatever comes in your life. Drop the attachment to the results of action. Sarva karma phalat tyagam. ततः कुरु यथात्मवान, कि जो कुछ भी हो, you just accept it. Don't be attached. Consider that as the blessings of Bhagwan, and don't be disturbed by any results which come. Just give up your attachment to the results of action. Become totally detached from the results of all actions which you are doing. Not only the actions which you are doing now, but all the actions which you have done in your past, whatever results come, don't be attached to those results. Means accept them completely as Bhagwan's prasad. अच्छा होता है एक्सेप्ट, बुरा होता है एक्सेप्ट. जो चाहे सो कर कृपा तुलसी तेरो है. Tulsidas ji says, you do whatever you want to do with me because I belong to you. तेरे फूलों से भी प्यार, तेरे कांटों से भी प्यार. हाँ, जो भी देना चाहे दे दे करतार, दुनिया के पालनहार. You give me whatever you want to give. You want to give me flowers, I will accept it. You want to give me the thorns, that also, those things also I will accept. So become totally detached from the results of action. हाँ, की फर्क पैंदा, कुछ भी हो. Total Sharanagati to that Ishvara. Ki whatever you want to give me, you give. Totally detached from the results. That is called karma phala tyaga. Means we have to bring that attitude. You first understand what this means and bring that attitude in your mind. Sarva karma phala tyagam tatak kuru yatatmavam. If we are able to do this, then this sadhana will take us to the higher step. We will be able to do karma for Ishvara. And when we are able to do karma for Ishvara, we will become fit to do abhyas. And once we become fit to do abhyas, we will be able to place our mind and intellect steadily in Ishvara. So these are step-by-step sadhana of that Sagun Ishvara, very beautifully presented here by Bhagwan. So if we are able to place our mind and intellect in Ishvara, very good. That is the highest thing. But if one fails to do that, if one is not capable of keeping the mind and intellect steadily in Ishvara, then Bhagwan says you do abhyas. But even abhyas becomes difficult to engage our mind and intellect constantly in Ishvara again and again to bring the mind back. Then we are not now fit for this dhyana or upasana at this level. So Bhagwan says you engage in activities, you do work, but do those type of work which will remind you of me, which will constantly bring your mind towards me, those work. Yajna dana tapak karma. But if you are unable to do this type of work also, then do other work as per your duties, but give up attachment to the results of action. Just don't be interested in whatever result comes. take this result as Bhagwan's prasad. So if we are able to make our mind in this way, Bhagwan says, you will attain me. Sarva karma phalatyagam tatak kuru yatatmavan. Now, in the next verse, Bhagwan praises this karma phalatyaga. He says this karma phalatyaga, don't consider it as ordinary, but it is, if one is able to gain abidance in this karma phalatyaga attitude, then instantly you will attain supreme peace. So that is very, very interesting. So here in the next verse, Bhagwan says, verse number 12, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat jnanat dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phalatyagah tyagachantiranantaram. Bhagwan says, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. This verse we have to understand properly. Bhagwan says, Shreyah, better. Better what? Jnanam abhyasat. Knowledge is better than practice. Knowledge is better than practice. Means one should not practice without gaining proper knowledge. Practice without proper understanding, proper knowledge is not good. Many times in modern times also people get excited with different types of practice. They want to practice. Practical spirituality. So different people, then they engage them in different types of meditation, different types of upasanas, different techniques, and they keep doing it without understanding, without having the understanding of the philosophy, of the purpose, of the goal, just doing something senselessly. Some pranayam, some yogasanas, some mantra chanting, some puja, some upasana, without proper understanding for ourselves or without proper guidance from a qualified teacher. If we keep engaging ourselves with some sort of practice, then that will lead to confusion only. Practice means repetition. So if you senselessly repeat something, that will become a strong habit. And if what you are repeating is not proper, then it will become improper. That habit will be very difficult to wipe it out. So Shankaracharya ji also writes कि अविवेक पूर्वकात अभ्यासात, the abhyas which is done without proper vivek, proper comprehension, is not proper. So in spirituality, we have to gain proper understanding before we practice. Especially these higher upasanas and meditation, one should have the proper understanding. Because the practice is leading us towards the goal. If that goal itself is not clear in our head, then that practice will not be fruitful, can be harmful also. Many people, they engage themselves in some practice, some Buddhist practice or Jain practice or some other practice without understanding the philosophy, without understanding that where it is leading. Because if the philosophy of that particular path is telling them about the Supreme as Shunya, then all your sadhanas will lead that person towards Shunya only, towards nihilism. If if the philosophy is talking about Dvaita, then that sadhana will lead towards Dvaita. If the philosophy is about some going to some sort of heaven or some other loka, then that practice will lead them towards that. It's like let us say you go to the bus stop, and there are a lot of these buses are there, interstate buses, and you want to go to a particular place. Then you just don't go and there sit in any bus which you like. You have to find out first, where is this bus going, what is its destination, what are the various places on the way. So if it is taking you towards your goal, then you should sit in that bus. Otherwise, should avoid. So similarly in spirituality, very important, we gain proper understanding first. Then we practice. This is very important. Many people, they forget this and they keep doing something. Sometimes we just see the other person doing something and we just imitate that person. Or we read something here and there, some books or some WhatsApp messages, and we continue to practice. That will not help us in any way, because this is a definite path, proper science. So Bhagavan says ki shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, that you should gain proper knowledge. Knowledge is better than practice. But what? After gaining proper knowledge, jnanat dhyanam vishishyate, one should then practice, one should meditate. Knowledge is one step, but only gaining knowledge will not give us fulfillment. Knowledge should be followed by practice, by dhyana. See, in Vedanta, there are these 3 steps are mentioned: Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan, to attain the supreme state of enlightenment. These 3 steps are there. Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. Through this Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, we come to recognize our own self, Aham, as Brahma. Not Ahankar, this Aham, Pratyagatma, as Brahma. So through Shravan, we come to understand, we hear about it. It helps us to recognize our own self. Through Manan, we gain conviction that yes, this self is Brahma. Through Shravan, the teacher tells us that you are that Brahma. So we come to understand you, we have to contemplate on what does it mean by Brahma and all. And then after a lot of contemplation, we gain conviction that yes, I am Brahma. So through Mananam, we gain Jnanam, knowledge. Through Shravan, we gain information. Through Manan, we gain knowledge. But through Nididhyasan, Dhyana, we gain experience. Without knowledge, we cannot meditate. Without knowledge, meditation is not possible. Because we have to meditate on ourself. If that self-knowledge itself is not gained, we will not be able to meditate. So knowledge and then meditation. Shankaracharya ji also writes, Jnana Purvakam Dhyanam. Dhyana along after gaining proper knowledge. So through dhyana we gain the direct experience of ourself as Brahma. That sakshatkar happens. Otherwise it remains only at the level of theory. But when we practice dhyana, then we gain that direct experience. But this dhyana abhyas cannot be done without jnanam. Knowledge is important. Okay? But suppose I am unable to do that dhyana also because I have not gained proper knowledge. Then Bhagavan says you practice karma and karma phala tyaga. So dhyanat karma phala tyaga. Here Bhagavan is praising karma phala tyaga. He says better than dhyana. Better than dhyana means if we are unable to do dhyana, if we have not gained proper knowledge, then don't engage yourself in dhyana, but practice karma phala tyaga. Develop that attitude of sharanagati to Bhagavan. Develop that attitude of complete acceptance of whatever Bhagavan gives us. That is karma phala tyaga only. कि जो कुछ भी आपने दिया है and whatever you are giving me, I accept it. That total attitude of karma phala tyaga, if it comes in our mind, then Bhagavan says that tyaga shantir anantaram. Then through this tyaga, karma phala tyaga, you will attain eternal peace. When? Anantaram, instantly. See this karma phala tyaga, when we are able to bring that attitude of karma phala tyaga, we will not only become free of our mamatva, but we will become free of our ahankar also. That false sense of doership which we have. And the attachment to things will get dropped and a person will experience eternal peace. See, through dhyana also, what happens ultimately? We drop our ahankar and mamatva and come to realize our own supreme self. This ahankar and mamatva engages us into this samsara. But if we are able to drop this ahankar, mamatva, then we will experience eternal peace instantly. See, if this is our everyday experience also. See, in the waking state, we experience this world and we have the sense of doership in us, so ahankar is there, mamatva is there, and constant some ups and downs we keep experiencing in our waking. When we go to sleep and we dream, even in our dream, lots of ups and downs we keep on experiencing, because in dream also ahankar and mamatva is there. But in deep sleep, in dreamless sleep, ahankar and mamatva gets dropped temporarily, but they get dropped, and I experience eternal supreme peace and bliss. Everyone who experiences deep sleep say that I slept happily, sukh se soya. Unfortunately, it doesn't remain last. As soon as we wake up, again we engage, we become attached to our body, mind, and we get involved in this samsara. But what happens in our deep sleep if we are able to do it in the waking? If we are able to drop our ahankar and mamatva, if we are able to drop that, and that is by dropping the karma phala, attachment to karma phala, then instantly person will experience peace. Tyaga shanti anantaram. So here Bhagavan praises this karma phala tyaga, but it is not just senseless praise, but it is true, because even the Upanishad says, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji quotes from Kathopanishad that yada sarve pramuchyante. This Kathopanishad says that when the kamna which is there in our heart, when they get dropped, then we experience supreme peace. Even in the second chapter, we saw the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the characteristic of a Sthita Prajna. What was said? Ki prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmannevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnas tadochyate. That when all the kamnas of the mind get dropped, that time, and when the person is totally satisfied in his own self, supreme self, then understand that as the state of Sthita Prajna. So karma phala tyaga is a supreme state of vairagya only. कि मुझे ना इस जगत के किसी फल से आसक्ति है, ना दूसरे लोक के किसी फल की आसक्ति. मीन्स इह अमुत्र फल भोग विरागः. No attachment to the result in this world or the other world. If a person is able to bring this attitude, Bhagavan says he will experience instant peace. Means with karma phala tyaga, he will be able to place his mind and intellect completely in Ishvara. मन और कहीं नहीं जाएगा. I had told you the story of these gopis, that Uddhava, Bhagwan's friend and devotee, he came to Vrindavan. He met those, he wanted to teach those gopis that Avyakta Ishvara Upasana. So he told those gopis that you place your mind in that, think about that supreme Nirakar Brahma. So the gopis told him that thank you for your good advice, but our mind is already engaged in Krishna, Sagun Ishvara, and we don't have many minds, we have only one mind, and that has been taken away by Krishna. Mananahi dasabis udho. एक हतो सो गयो श्याम संग को आराधे ईश. With which mind should we meditate on that Nirgun Nirakar Ishvara? So these gopis had dropped all their attachment, everything, and their mind was totally engaged in Krishna only. So that is what Bhagavan says, that if you are able to bring that karma phala tyaga attitude, you will experience instant peace, anantaram. So hope you have understood this. So shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. Better than abhyas is jnanam, to gain proper knowledge. But after gaining knowledge, you should engage yourself in dhyana. But better than dhyana means if you are unable to do dhyana, or even in dhyana, this tyaga, when it happens, we gain supreme peace. Through dhyana, what happens? Our ahankar and mamatva get dissolved. The false sense of I and my gets dissolved in dhyana. It gets dropped and one attains supreme peace. So dhyanat karma phalatyagaha. So even better than dhyana is karma phalatyaga, and tyaga shanti anantaram, and through this tyaga one gains supreme peace. Sarva karma phalatyaga stutihi. So this is the stuti of that sarva karma phalatyaga. So thus the step-by-step sadhana of doing that saguna Ishvara upasana and attaining Ishvara is revealed here. So karma phalatyaga gives us that result directly. Directly means through karma phalatyaga we are able to do karma for Ishvara. If we are able to do karma for Ishvara, our mind will go again and again to Ishvara. So we are able to do practice, abhyas, and that abhyas will lead to firm abidance of that mind and intellect in Ishvara, and thus gaining that Ishvara anubhuti. So Bhagavan now talked about Sagun Upasana. He also had mentioned Nirgun Upasana. And about Nirgun Upasana, Bhagavan had said that Sanniyamendriya Gramam, those who are pursuing this Nirgun Nirakar Upasana, Avyakta Upasana, they should control all their senses. Sanniyamendriya Gramam Sarvatra Samabuddhayah, and have Samabuddhi at all times, and Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, and they should constantly revel in the welfare of all beings while pursuing this path of Avyakta Upasana. So they should follow up this type of dharma which will help them to do that Avyakta Upasana. So those Avyakta Upasak, those devotees who are engaged in doing this Avyakta Upasana, they lead a particular type of life. See, those who are fit for Avyakta Upasana, they cannot do this karma yoga and all. They have transcended this level and they are doing this karma, this Avyakta Upasana. But they have to lead a particular type of life, following certain dharma, which will help them to do that Avyakta Upasana. Bhagwan has said about the Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha also, and also in the last verse of 11th chapter we had seen that Bhagwan talked about Nirvairas Sarva Bhuteshu, should be free from all vaira towards all beings. So the dharma which a devotee, the Avyakta Upasak, who has gained that knowledge of that Supreme Brahma and is engaged in that Nididhyasan, in meditation on that Avyakta Ishvara, what type of life or what type of values they express through their life, that is being presented here in the following verses. There is a most beautiful portion of the whole Bhagavad Gita, very beautiful portion, and Bhagwan will call all these values as Dharmyamrutam, as the Param Dharma, and Amrutam. This is like Amrut, like the ambrosia, or this dharma when followed gives us that amrutatvam, that state of immortality. So these are the lakshanas of a Avyakta Upasak. But this also can become the sadhana for others. See, what is the natural expression of a enlightened person becomes the sadhana for others. So Shankaracharya ji, he writes, कि तस्माद् अक्षरोपासकानां सम्यक् दर्शन निष्ठानां सन्यासिनां त्यक्त सर्वैषणानां अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां इत्यादि धर्मपूतां साक्षात् अमृतत्व कारणं वक्ष्यामि इति प्रवर्तते. That Bhagwan is now telling these lakshanas of this jnana-nishtha sannyasi, means those who are totally engaged in that knowledge and those who meditate on that Avyakta Ishvara, that is Brahma. The lakshanas of this sadhaks, of these devotees, which are also called dharma and which leads us towards that state of immortality, is being described here. Bhagwan had said in the 7th chapter that I have 4 types of devotees. 4 types of devotees, they worship me. Who are the 4 types? Artha, Jidnyasu, Artharti, and Jnani. Artha means one who is experiencing lot of sorrow and suffering. They worship Bhagwan to make them free of their sorrows. They surrender to that Bhagwan. Then there are those who are artharthi. They want something in return from Bhagwan, some wealth, some position. So they worship Bhagwan in order to gain something. They are the artharthi. Then there are jidnyasu, those who want to know about Bhagwan. They want to gain knowledge about Bhagwan. And then there are those who are jnani bhaktas, those who know Bhagwan and they worship him. So such jnani bhaktas, their lakshanas are described in the following verses. Bhagwan had said about them that they are my own self. Jnani tu atma eva me matam. And he had also said that Jnani is very dear to me. Jnani is very, very dear to me. So here in this following verses, Bhagwan gives the lakshana of this Jnani Bhakta. So those who engage themselves in this Avyakta Upasana finally gain abidance in Bhagwan. They are the Jnani Bhakta. So the lakshanas of this Jnani Bhaktas Bhagwan gives here, and he also says that they are very dear to me. They are my Bhakta and they are very dear to me. These are very beautiful portion, and we others can also practice these lakshanas given, which are given here. We will study about these lakshanas in our class tomorrow. Okay. So till then, you please take care of yourself. Be happy, healthy, peaceful, safe. Do your work, do your sadhana. Contemplate on what you have heard. Take down notes, read your notes again. Contemplate and practice what you have understood. Okay? And we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Bole Syavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.